Good afternoon. This is Friday, April 23rd, and you know we're coming up to a full moon on April 26th at 10:32 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So it's the 27th for some people. But the April 26th full moon, Scorpio full moon, it is fact and lore, I guess, that Buddha is said to have been born on the full moon in Scorpio, became the Buddha or enlightened one on the full moon in Scorpio, and then died on the full moon in Scorpio. And Taurus is about generation, generative energy, bringing together pleasure and joy and fun and physicality in order to propagate the species, on one level. But it's also about, re-energizing those bonds that maybe got fractured or colder during the winter. And so Taurus is the full expression of spring. All the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. So this full moon is balancing generating energy with regenerating energy of the Scorpio, which death is the big one, but there are many deaths that we take throughout our lives, puberty, marriage, good sex, the aspect of divorce even. But there is this part of us that Scorpio is constantly wanting to get to the bottom of things because it's a fixed or concentrated water sign, and water stops flowing at its bottom. So water descends. So cut those Scorpios, Pisces, and Cancer some slack when you say they're being negative. No, it can be reserved. It can be, unless you're meaning negative as negatively charged or receptive to positive or receptive to energies and internal, and a lot of people don't use it that way, then maybe say receptive, observational, feeling even, because it is a soulful feeling, watery energy. Saturn's in Aquarius, squaring. So if the moon is, and full moon is like this, which it will continue for another couple days after. So until the 28th, we're building up, and then we start to wane at the fullness, and then it'll start. Then we still have the full, but it's how we are communal, how we're connecting, how we're discerning our values, and then how do we share our values a la Scorpio. Saturn is the fulcrum or the middle point of this seesaw between Taurus and Scorpio. And he's the seesaw, he's the fulcrum point or the center point in Aquarius. And he's the strongest one out of this in the sense that Saturn loves Aquarius. Even what we're dealing with the police reform and the abolitionist movement or abolish the police, Saturn in Aquarius is going to tend to lean more toward reform. However, with Uranus squaring that Saturn again in June 14th, and then again on Christmas Eve this year, we have the Uranian force in Taurus that is going to continue to build momentum about abolishing or restructuring root assumptions about our values and about what we hold dear. And Uranus doesn't go with the surface; he goes with the root original intention of the institution, of the situation, of what have you. So the Saturn is about, he delays what you are not prepared to follow through, what you're not committed to. So yes, is he, and he teaches a lot of times through lack. So the Aquarius can be sensitive to peer pressure. Where do I fit in? Where do I belong? The Scorpio moon can hold resentments for a millennia, maybe. No, not that's dramatic, but hold it because Scorpio is where the ego goes to get regenerated. And the moon is the part of our intuitive day to day experiences. So it can be, in its shadow, it can be petty and vindictive and snarly. But in its balance, when you look at the shadow, when you look at the snark, you look underneath it, look into it, then the Scorpio moon can be one of the best healers you would ever want to come across. There's a nuanced sensitivity to people and to souls who are in legitimate pain. And so this Mars has just gone into Cancer, so there's again another watery influence. But the Cancer Mars is where that energy can be balanced out between the Taurus and Scorpio. Cancer gives Taurus the water that they need in order to grow. The emotional sensitivities, the attention, the affection, that emotional support in the moment. And then Cancer and Scorpio, both being water signs, that Moon Mars can have your instincts aligned with your principle of action or your womb aligned with your dick, because the moon is our womb, how we nurture and how we bring our most personal and private selves out into the world to continue with the uterus or moon metaphor, and then Mars is the biological symbol for male. How are we gonna fuck somebody over, or actually negotiate the way we connect in a more masculine, positive, and by positive I mean plus extroverted out, not always positive in that manner. So the takeaway is, what do you value? Whom do you value? What really matters? What experiences are important for you? And then how can you regenerate those instincts and those habits that no longer serve you? And Scorpio just says, hey, he can take a page out of Sagittarius book that doesn't always have to be one extreme or another. It can be incremental. You're not proving anything to anyone by going cold turkey on a relationship, a habit, a compulsion, what have you. Like charity, compassion begins at home. And unlike the Buddhists, I don't necessarily think that we have to learn all of our lessons through suffering. Taurus reminds us, just like the most beautiful expression of spring reminds us, that sometimes we can learn the same lessons through joy.